Virginia Birney was born Virginia Coster on November 15, 1911. This is the story of her early years and experiences as she recalls.
So, what about your father's parents? There's a story way back. I don't know how. I know there's some truth to it. His grandmother fled to this country with her new husband, who had a duel over her. She was a lady-in-waiting in France. The man she married, Paul Coster, I think it was Coster, was Dutch, working at the French as a guard or something, you know, how they back and forth. They fought a duel. They flew to this country, they ran. To this country, and John Coster, your cousin, has the sword. Actually, I think he's got the picture of my dad's graduation class. There are 8 in it. And it gives their names. Paul R. Coster. So she was an aristocrat, I think, originally. That's maybe where she got these ideas, see? And he, too, he's right. Nobody else is. I don't know. It was a very strange bringing up he had. She said, Mary Jo would tell you, she's got the letter, said, n'oubliez pas, don't forget to have, on my gravestone, put Baroness of so-and-so. And my dad did not follow that. I checked it up. I called the Holland cemetery, and they gave me her date and everything. He buried her as A.V. Coster, not Baroness something. Apolline Virginie, it's French. Apolline Virginie Coster when she married him.
Do you know what her maiden name was?
That's who raised your dad?
That's who raised my dad.
Yeah, well, that's tying it together.
And the thing is, if Mary Jo's got a few little pieces that came from Paris, France, mirror or picnic outfit, and we've never been able to trace it. John Coster, who has the sword, has emailed me more than years ago trying to trace things. And he's done the best. He's a smart kid, I think. Worked very hard and got no place. He's from he graduated from Brown University. I don't know if that means anything. But that's Lloyd's son. And he tried. John Coster tried. Got no place. Was trying to find things in Paris, France.
Tell me about your mom and her family.
My mother was one of 4, and only one in her family who did not go to college. The family was very likable. They all enjoyed each other, and my grandparents on that side were the old-fashioned kind that loved to have you come and had cookies. They were just gentle, nice people. My mother had a sister and 2 brothers. I mentioned before, they all went to college. My aunt taught, and my uncles were all engineers. We lived different places in Holland, and in time built a big house on the way to Makatawa, which is now a home for people, handicapped people, I think. It's a big home, big brick home.
Hey, Grandma, can you please tell us a little bit about your dad?
My father was from a broken home, lived with a grandmother who had him tutored, which made him able to graduate from Hope College at the age of 18. He was a very brilliant man, domineering, and very unusual. If we needed new clothes, he took us downtown to buy them. My mother didn't. My father bought the clothes. One incident, I think it was junior high, I had my hair in braids and wore ribbons. The boys stole them and put them up on the fire escape. The boys put the ribbons up there. When my dad found out about it, he made me go get them by myself. I had to go get them alone on the fire escape. The one that horrified Debbie, you want me to tell you about it?
Sure.
Well, we had this big house, the big one, and he had an office off from the kitchen. It was an office, nothing but. And apparently, I didn't know it, but he had candy in there, and we had 5 children. Somebody was eating the candy. So I think it's strange, but he put some poison in the candy, and my brother and his friend got caught. They got sick to the stomach. So he found out who did it.
He poisoned it?
That's an unusual father.
That is unusual, Father.
I only knew it because I heard that the boys were outside over a fence and both got sick. That's all I know about it. But he was also different in many other ways. If we, with our brothers and sisters, went and tobogganing one day, we couldn't go the next because we'd been there once. We couldn't get, or we could ice skate one day but not the next. That was it. Actually, it was so unusual. He was so unusual. My friends, most of our friends didn't want to come over. He was a small man, but they weren't comfortable. He did tell us during our lifetime, as we were getting older, how much it was costing him to bring us up. Each one of us are costing me this much by the time you're 18. That's when he determined when you're 18, that's it with us. You either go get a job or go to college. We no longer take care of you.
So I'm in the financial services industry. I wanted to know what the Great Depression was like. I'm very curious about that. So maybe you can answer that as you lived through that.
Also, my father lost his business. He sold Nash's. He had a good location in Holland on a corner brick building, on River Street, which is a big, busy one. And he really lost everything because he bought the building, bought the business, and they crashed everything. So that was when we really went through that.
So what did you do after that?
He's a photographer and a mailman.
Did your dad have any hobbies?
Philatelist, you know what that is?
No.
Stamp collector. And it really did a lot of it. They also played, I guess he played chess. Yeah, I think it's chess. Something that's difficult to play, what would it be? Anyway, the stamp collecting was important. He really had a good amount of unusual ones. And after he died, my mother sold his collection, and she got some money quite a bit of money for it. So it was worthwhile.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He went deeply into it. He did come with my mother to my wedding, which is because we didn't do much of else, socially.
Can you tell us when you graduated from high school?
High school.
I don't know.
You don't know what year?
Nope.
And did you go to your high school prom?
Nope. Hardly went to football games. Very few.
Because of your dad?
Yeah. We didn't encourage. We had my dad was a car dealer. We had cars to go to and from school. One person drove. The rest rode along. My brother Clyde drove. We lived 3 miles from school, and no buses then at all. Walk or, drive. Graduated from high school and did nothing. Went home with my parents. That was it. There might have been people that had parties, but not big. I really just went home with the parents. That was all. Well, Jim had an open house.
He did?
Yep. I don't know how that happened. He did. I'll tell you why I remember that. Kay Bennett's parents were in town visiting her, and she brought them out, and they gave them an extra $5, I suppose, because they were here. They just wanted to see the house, and they were from Rogers City, and they're gone, of course. Kay Bennett's mother died visiting her daughter in California. That would be horrible. Kay was there, too.
Wow.
What year did you graduate college?
34, 35, I graduated from college. But I stayed out that 1 year and worked full-time at the Keller Hotel. Waited table full-time and made good money. It was full-time. But it was a Keller Hotel then. Well known. Well, they served breakfasts too, and they had a, short order thing in the morning, but big meals at night.
What was the better shift?
I would say the dinners, but the breakfast, we made so much money that the owners would tell us not to carry that money around. They didn't want people to see our pockets full of money. You know, do something with it, but don't run around with it. In the summers, I made my money at Harbor Springs, waiting table.
But that was in college.
In college.
Yeah.
Oh. They only hired girls from K College and Hope College. So I was lucky. I went to Hope College and got in that way. It's what they chose. People running it got in at Hope, see.
Okay, you went to Hope College?
2 years.
2 years.
And transferred after the second year to State.
You had a 3-year engagement?
Yes. No money. Your father had no money. His parents were putting him to college, but he worked, but didn't have much money saved. His parents.
That's why I hooked up with you, because you had all the money from Battle Creek.
Where did you meet Grandpa Birney?
I met him in class. I met him in the class, and he walked in with another girl. I walked in with another boy, and for some reason he asked me if I'd like to go to the Union for a Coke. And sure, I was glad to do that. We walked to Union, but he asked me the second time. That's usually pretty exciting, the second time. So it meant something at the Union. And a lot of kids gathered then. We started social, you know, visited with the other kids. And
Do you know what the enrollment was when you were in college?
you might be horrified, but I think it's only 3,000. I don't know for sure, but we walked to every class. Nobody drove, I might tell you this, nobody drove a car in college. They didn't have cars. Nobody was married in college. This is a depression. You didn't get married and think you're going to carry on, so you didn't get married. But we walked to everything, and there was a bus to Lansing and back from East Lansing. But it was such a different situation because nobody's married.
Grandma, how did you dress in college?
Oh, I might tell you, too, that we never wore slacks in college. Always a dress. Well, I was there in the 30s. You've got to remember this is in the 30s. And they didn't slacks weren't in then. We wore dresses.
No, when I left home, they were dating. We were all going, well, no, I was finished with Michigan State, but they were dating, but then they didn't get married till after I left home.
And you graduated from Michigan State?
No, 2 years,
Drop
and
off.
then 1 year at business school, and then got a job in the Capitol, typing the state rules and stuff like that.
What year? Do you know?
Oh, sure, I know. Well, that I went to Michigan State?
Yeah.
33 and 34.
When you were in college, did your parents visit you?
I didn't see much of them. No, my mother came to visit me once or twice. No, they didn't keep in touch much. And I more than once hitchhiked, believe it or not, from East Lansing to Holland and made it. Lots of it did. Got along fine. In fact, sometimes I hitchhike with a friend, not a boyfriend, but a friend from Holland who was going to State. We hitchhiked together. We made it.
What did you study when you were at college?
What do you call it? Not an early. I took a Bachelor of Arts degree, which is a lot of English, a lot of languages. I had to take business courses too, which I didn't like, but I made them. Got my marks. In Hope College, we always had a religious section too. Went to chapel first.
At Hope College?
At Hope. And they have a good reputation of placing their students. That's one thing about Hope. They do a great job of placing them. Oh, the only person who came to my college graduation was my husband, my boyfriend. My parents couldn't come. They didn't have the money then, see. The depression.
You had a 3-year engagement?
3 years, mainly because of the depression again. We just couldn't.
How did Grandpa ask you to marry him?
Took me down to the college, to canoe shelter, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
And that was at that spot. He gave me the ring then. I've heard of other people going there. Of course, he worked at the college part-time, too, in concessions. So he knew something about the canoes and renting them, so on.
Grandma, tell me about your wedding.
We didn't have a car when we got married. We borrowed his dad's for the honeymoon.
Where did you and Grandpa Birney honeymoon?
We went to Chicago, but we had friends there, our age, wonderful people from Hope College, good friends. They're gone, see. That's a sad thing. And they've been in touch with us. They didn't come to the wedding, but now the Hilligans did. And anyway, we went to Chicago and saw this couple whose name was Tysse. That's a good Dutch name, Tysse. And we had a wonderful time just staying there one night with them. And that just went to Chicago maybe 3 days and back home. My husband's parents didn't approve of our marriage because I wasn't Catholic. And they told other people, even Kay Bennett was a Catholic, and I somehow let her know that they wish he'd marry her instead because she was Catholic. And we laughed about it, but they were serious. They didn't really approve of it. He gave me the ring, and I had it for a while before they even saw it. She was working, and so in an office downtown Lansing, right in the middle of Four Corners, and he was picking me up for something, and they drove by. They made an appointment to stop and see the ring. I always enjoyed his dad in one way because first time he took me there to visit with him, he'd say to his dad, "Well, I don't agree with you," and I never say that to my father. Never said that. We were just talking religion.
Oh, he might poison you.
Well, yeah. I remember the first time we visited him, he said, "Dad, I don't agree with you." And that impressed me because I didn't live that way. So I was always welcome at their house. I really wanted a child because I got married. I was older when I was 27 years old. And I really want to get a family started. And I wanted a boy because, I'll say my husband had two sisters, so he was the only one left to carry on the Birney name. Well, I took care of that in a hurry later, but I did have a boy.
What year did you get married, and when was my dad born?
We were married in 38. He was born in 39. Jim was just the hardest kid in the world to take care of. He was so busy. My friends we got together with our children. They were just angels, like that. And Jim was all over the place. He walked early, and he had one of these walkers in the house. He whizzed in that, just like that. Well, Luann was quite a relief, after that. She waited the proper time to walk, and he was busy all his life.
Well, not only that, after you were married, and we were married, remember when we'd go with Howdy and Kay and
Barb and
yeah, and Barb and Harold.
Yeah,
you bet.
Whole gang of us did.
We lived. Don and I, or Don. Oh my God. Del and I only lived in Bay City for 3 years, and then we were in Lansing and lived until the end of the war. We lived 5 years there, and that was where my first 5 kids were.
And we took our babies to go play cards with them, but they got the measles at their uncles and aunts. Did you know that?
Thanks.
Was that when Kathleen had the measles?
Oh, they're older than that.
We always had a baby for 2 or 3. Yeah, sure.
That's how we got together at night, just take the kids with us.
Yeah, we'd play cards.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I can remember in the winter pulling on a sled on a Sunday afternoon because his dad didn't care about that type of thing. Or I'd give him a ride in a bike on a basket or something, in a pram. But I'd take him out to do something because he was so busy. My friend Marty Jabiga wrote to me and said, after I had Luann, "Now you have a perfect family, a boy and a girl." And I don't know what she thought of me. Well, I know we remain friends, but she had one. She was a cheerleader. She did a lot of things I didn't do, but we were good friends. We went to each other's wedding. There's a table in Luann's living room that the Japanese gave me as a wedding gift. The hardest was Pat, Dave, and Dick, because you came so fast together. Someone said, you must have taken a rest in between. You had 3 and didn't have any, and you had 3 in a hurry. I don't know. It's the way it worked. This is life. I was busy with you 3. Fairview mostly.
Fairview?
I think so. No, Dick was born when we lived on West Columbia. Just got out and had to go into town to see a doctor. I can remember, lived on West Columbia. I always had diapers on the line. I said to your dad, he'd be driving and said, aren't you tired of seeing those? He said, badges of honor. So that was the hard part, living out in that at West Columbia. It's cold. Had to take care of the furnace in the morning. He banked the fire, and I had to open it up. The house would be 45 degrees in the morning. That was awful. It took a long time to get warmed up. Incidentally, we took the kids, Pat, David, and Dick, to the college to show them around a nice day on a Saturday. So Dad and I took you out there. And maybe the first 3 kids. And Bill got his finger stuck in the popcorn machine. Did you know that? The other kids got a couple kernels of popcorn. Bill put his in, and it clamped. And it was Sunday. Your dad had to go find a man when he couldn't get his hand out. And we pulled on it. We was just screaming. And he got him. He had to take the machine apart, had to go to the hospital, and the thing was right through his finger. A pin was right through it. They took it out, and he was all right.
Bill.
Mm-hmm. He's so quiet around people.
After raising their 6 children, Virginia went on to teach high school English for 15 years. Jim and Ginny were married for over 50 years. She remained close to her siblings, especially enjoying the time spent with her sister Carm. She lived over 100 years, remaining very active and independent throughout her life. She took the bus to the YMCA to participate in water aerobics 3 times a week and continued to do so until 13 days before her death on August 30th, 2012.